We are introduced to New Bordeaux, a city that is basically a character itself, dripping with history and Southern values, but hiding some serious toxicity underneath. The narrator spills the tea on Lincoln Clay, framing him as a force of nature who did more damage than literal natural disasters, which is honestly a flex, but also terrifying. We get into the backstory of Lincoln Clay and his time in Vietnam, which is honestly giving major trauma dumping, but in a necessary way. The interview segments paint a picture of a guy who has seen things that would make anyone spiral. It establishes his skills and why he is absolutely not the person you want to have beef with. This context is crucial because it explains why he is so efficient at handling business when things go south later on. The narrative shifts to the heist on the Federal Reserve, which was essentially the catalyst for everything that goes wrong. It is wild to think about how meticulously this was planned, involving insider knowledge and disguises. This segment shows the squad working together before the betrayal, and seeing them all on the same page hits different knowing how messy the group chat is about to get. It is the calm before the absolute storm. Lincoln returns home, and the reunion with his foster father, Sammy, and brother Ellis is wholesome content that we absolutely love to see. It is a brief moment of joy where Lincoln thinks he can just chill and maybe leave the violence behind. But because we cannot have nice things, we quickly learn about the financial issues Sammy is dealing with. The vibe switches from a heartwarming family vlog to a stress-inducing drama real quick. The Haitian gang enters the chat, causing major problems for Sammy in the hollow. Lincoln, being the absolute unit that he is, decides to handle it immediately. This is not just about paying debts. It is about loyalty and protecting the only family he has ever known. He steps up with main character energy, proving that he is willing to do whatever it takes to secure the bag and keep his people safe from the ops. Lincoln and Ellis roll up on the Haitian camp, and things get chaotic very fast. Taking out their leader, Baca, was supposed to solve their problems, but it feels like putting a bandage on a bullet hole. The action here is intense, showcasing Lincoln's military training. He is clearing rooms and taking names, completely unaware that this victory is just setting the stage for a much bigger and more devastating loss. We finally meet the big bad, Sal Marcano. He tries to recruit Lincoln to run the hollow, essentially offering him a seat at the table. Lincoln hits him with a hard pass because he is loyal to Sammy, which is a noble move but definitely bruised Sal's ego. You can feel the tension in the room. Rejecting a mob boss is a bold strategy that usually results in immediate consequences, and Sal's face says it all. The heist on the Federal Reserve is in full swing, and the tension is palpable. The plan involves drilling through the floor and using smoke as a distraction, which is honestly big brain energy. Despite the chaos and the police closing in, the crew manages to secure the cash. It is a high-stakes moment where everything seems to be going right, but if you know anything about heist movies, this is usually when the plot twists. The escape from the heist is pure adrenaline. They are navigating through sewers and dodging the law, barely making it out with their lives. It is a bonding moment for the crew, reinforcing their brotherhood. They are hyping each other up, thinking they have just pulled off the score of a lifetime. The celebration vibes are high, but the audience knows that this victory lap is going to be cut tragically short. This is the moment that literally ruined everyone's day. The crew is celebrating at Sammy's bar when Sal Marcano and his son, Georgie, pull up. The betrayal is brutal and comes out of nowhere. Watching Sammy and Ellis get taken out is absolutely heartbreaking, and Lincoln taking a bullet to the head is a shocker. Sal Marcano really woke up and chose violence, burning the place down and leaving Lincoln for dead. Total villain behavior. Father James pulls Lincoln out of the fire, saving his life in a moment that feels like divine intervention. Lincoln's recovery is a slow burn, filled with physical pain and mental anguish. He is not just healing, he is plotting. The montage of him getting back into shape while the city moves on without him is inspiring but also dark. He is basically entering his villain era, but for the right reasons. Revenge is the only thing on the menu. Lincoln links up with John Donovan, his old CIA handler who is essentially the chaotic good to Lincoln's chaotic neutral. Donovan hates the Marcanos just as much and brings all the surveillance tech to the table. This duo is iconic because they are ready to burn the entire city to the ground to get what they want. They start mapping out the criminal empire, looking for weaknesses like they are playing a strategy game on hard mode. Lincoln recruits Cassandra, the leader of the Haitian gang, which is ironic considering their history. She is tough as nails and has her own beef with the Marcanos. The alliance is shaky at best, basically a toxic relationship held together by a common enemy. She agrees to help, but you can tell she is plotting her own moves. It is giving the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but with way more trust issues. Donovan introduces Lincoln to wiretapping, which is a total game changer. It allows them to spy on the mob's operations and gather intel on high-value targets. It is giving major stalker vibes, but for a tactical advantage. This tech allows Lincoln to be 2 steps ahead, turning the hunter into the hunted. He is collecting receipts on everyone, ensuring that when he strikes, it hits where it hurts the most. Richie Doucet, the guy running the Dixie Mafia in the Hollow, finally gets what is coming to him. This guy was absolute trash, kidnapping people and causing misery. Lincoln tracks him down to an abandoned amusement park, which is the creepiest setting possible. The confrontation is intense, and Lincoln does not hold back. Taking out Doucet sends a loud message to Marcano that Lincoln is back, and he is not playing games. Lincoln goes to recruit Thomas Burke, the head of the Irish mob, who is currently down bad. He is drunk, depressed, and running his operation into the ground. Their meeting is tense because Burke feels abandoned, but Lincoln manages to talk some sense into him. It is a classic redemption arc setup, where Burke has to get his act together if he wants to reclaim his territory and get revenge on the people who wronged him. To get Burke back in the game, they target the butcher's distillery business. This involves destroying moonshine stills and disrupting the supply chain. It is petty but effective. Watching Lincoln dismantle the operation is satisfying because it hits the mob in their wallet. It forces the butcher to come out of hiding, proving that messing with the money is the quickest way to get a reaction from these guys. The confrontation with the butcher is personal for Burke, considering the history there. Lincoln storms the slaughterhouse, which is just as gruesome as it sounds. Taking down the butcher is a massive win for the Irish mob and solidifies Burke's loyalty to Lincoln. It is a brutal fight, but securing this territory is a major stepping stone in the grand plan to dismantle Marcano's empire piece by piece. We find out that Vito Scaletta, the protagonist from the previous game, is in New Bordeaux, and he is not having a good time. Marcano has him cornered and is basically waiting for an excuse to take him out. Lincoln steps in to save him, which is the crossover event we didn't know we needed. Vito is a legend, so seeing him in this situation is stressful, but Lincoln having his back changes the dynamic completely. Lincoln rescues Vito, who was literally locked in a freezer, which is cold even for the mob. This rescue mission is high stakes because if Vito dies, a huge potential ally is lost. Getting him out alive proves to Vito that Lincoln is serious about taking down Marcano. Vito joins the squad, bringing his experience and connections, which levels up Lincoln's operation significantly. The squad is finally coming together. Michael Greco is the slimy nephew trying to push Vito out, and Lincoln goes after him with zero chill. The chase through the city is chaotic, with cars drifting and bullets flying. Catching Greco is satisfying because he is one of those entitled characters you just love to hate. Handing him over to Vito allows for some poetic justice, cementing the alliance and clearing the board of another annoyance. The first sit-down with all three underbosses, Cassandra, Burke, and Vito, is awkward to say the least. They all hate each other, and Lincoln has to play babysitter. He lays out the master plan to dismantle Marcano's lieutenants one by one. It is a fragile alliance held together by Lincoln's sheer willpower and the promise of revenge. You can tell that one wrong move could make this entire team implode instantly. The strategy session highlights just how deep Marcano's operation goes. They identify the key lieutenants and the specific rackets they run. It is not just about killing, it is about systematic dismantling. Lincoln is playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers. He assigns targets and territories, making sure everyone gets a slice of the pie to keep them motivated. It is organized crime management at its finest. Next on the hit list is Frank Pagani, who runs a smuggling operation. Lincoln tracks his car using a device Donovan planted, which is very spy movie of them. They follow him to his ship, the Tanager, to gather intel. It turns out Pagani is involved in moving more than just standard contraband. This segment reveals deeper connections to Cuba and sets up some major plot points involving counterfeiting. Lincoln rescues Alvarez, a counterfeiter from Cuba, who is being hunted by Marcano's men. Alvarez is vital because he has the plates Marcano needs to print money. Saving him denies Marcano a huge financial lifeline. Father James steps in to help smuggle Alvarez out of the city, showing that despite his reservations, he is still willing to help Lincoln when lives are on the line. It is a small victory with huge implications. We shift focus to Tommy Marcano, who runs the district of South Downs. This guy is awful, running a sports book and pushing some seriously racist agendas. Lincoln infiltrates his operation to get closer. The vibe in this district is heavy, with racial tensions bubbling under the surface. Taking down Tommy is not just about hurting Sal, it feels like a public service to the community. Lincoln is ready to shut it all down. Lincoln enters a boxing tournament to get close to Tommy Marcano. It is a classic Trojan horse maneuver. He fights his way through, proving he can throw hands with the best of them. The atmosphere in the gym is sweaty and intense. Winning the fights gets him a face-to-face meeting with Tommy, which is exactly what he wanted. It is bold, risky, and incredibly entertaining to watch play out. The confrontation with Tommy is brutal. After winning the fight, Lincoln is taken to the back where he reveals his true intentions. He douses the counterfeit money plates and Tommy in gasoline and lights them up. It is a horrific way to go, but it sends a fiery message to Sal. I burned your money and your brother. It is savage and confirms that Lincoln has absolutely no mercy left in his system. Next up is Lou Marcano, the face of the operation who rubs elbows with politicians and judges. He is dealing with a corrupt judge to legalize gambling. Lincoln decides to disrupt this by taking out the judge first. It is a strategic strike that creates chaos in Lou's world. By targeting the legal protection, Lincoln exposes Lou, making him vulnerable. It is a smart play that forces Lou to panic and make mistakes. We dive deeper into the corruption, targeting a construction racket used for blackmailing city officials. Lincoln gathers dirt and takes out the enforcers, keeping everyone in line. It is satisfying to watch the corrupt infrastructure crumble. This isn't just mob work, it is tearing down the systemic rot in the city. Lincoln is effectively dismantling the legitimate face of Marcano's empire, leaving them with nowhere to hide. The attack on the Royal Hotel is straight out of an action movie. Lincoln storms the penthouse to take out a key target, throwing him out the window to make a statement. The subsequent escape involves dodging police and navigating through a hotel in chaos. It is loud, messy, and public, ensuring that everyone in New Bordeaux knows that Lincoln Clay is coming for the top of the food chain. Lou Marcano tries to hold a fundraiser on a riverboat, thinking he is safe on the water. Lincoln has other plans and rigs a coal dumper to explode, forcing the boat to stop. The explosion is massive and creates a chaotic battlefield on the river. It is a visually stunning set piece where Lincoln fights his way through the sinking ship. The symbolism of Marcano's empire literally sinking is not lost on anyone. Lincoln catches up to Lou in the swamp after the boat crash. He doesn't just kill him, he ties him to a statue of Andrew Jackson in the French ward, gutted like a fish. It is a gruesome public display that serves as a grim warning. This act strips away the veneer of respectability Lou tried to maintain. It is pure shock value designed to terrify Sal and his remaining allies. The target shifts to Olivia Marano and Remy Duval in Frisco Fields. This area is the stronghold of the Southern Union, a hate group masking as a social club. The racism here is overt and sickening. Lincoln crashing their party feels incredibly justified. He starts dismantling their propaganda machine and disrupting their gatherings. It is a satisfying crusade against some of the worst people in the city, hitting them right in their hateful ideology. Lincoln discovers a drug lab producing PCP in a grocery store of all places. Olivia is using this to fund her lifestyle. Taking out the lab is a wild ride, fighting through aisles of products while chemicals explode around him. It cripples their income stream and exposes the hypocrisy of the high society types in Frisco Fields. They preach purity while pushing poison on the streets. Lincoln shuts it down permanently. Remy Duval holds a rally that is basically a clan meeting. Lincoln infiltrates and takes everyone out. He leaves Remy tied to a burning cross, turning their own symbol of hate against them. It is poetic justice of the highest order. The image is powerful and sends shockwaves through the city. It destroys the morale of the Southern Union and removes a key pillar of support for the Marcano family. Lincoln infiltrates a wake being held at a country club, disguised as a waiter. He drugs the wine with LSD, causing the guests and guards to hallucinate and panic. It is a chaotic and surreal scene as the high society gathering turns into a nightmare trip. This distraction allows Lincoln to get close to Olivia without raising the alarm immediately. It is a creative and psychological way to handle a heavily guarded target. In the confusion, Lincoln corners Olivia Marano. He gets the information he needs and then deals with her. The takedown is personal and final. With Olivia gone, Sal Marcano has lost all his major lieutenants and family members who were running the city. He is isolated, paranoid, and running out of options. The walls are closing in, and Lincoln is standing at the gate ready to knock it down. Sal Marcano realizes it is truly over. He is alone in his casino, the dream project that cost him everything. The emptiness of the building reflects his current state. He knows Lincoln is coming, and there is a sense of resignation. He is not running anymore. He is just waiting for the inevitable. It is a somber moment for a villain who spent the whole game feeling untouchable. Now he is just an old man with nothing left. Lincoln storms the unfinished casino, fighting through wave after wave of guards. It is the final boss level, the culmination of all the bloodshed. The atmosphere is tense, with the glitz of the casino contrasting with the violence. Every shot fired feels like it has weight. Lincoln is unstoppable, a force of vengeance clearing the path to the top floor where Sal and Georgie are waiting for their judgment. Lincoln finally confronts Sal Marcano. They share a drink and a conversation, acknowledging that they are two sides of the same coin. It is a quiet, intense moment amidst the carnage. Sal accepts his fate and Lincoln kills him. It is not triumphant, it is just done. The revenge is complete, but it leaves Lincoln standing in a room full of dead bodies, wondering if it was all worth the cost. Leo Galante, a heavy hitter from the commission, shows up to broker a peace deal. He basically tells Lincoln he can run the city as long as he pays his dues. Then Father James gives Lincoln an ultimatum: leave town and start fresh, or stay and risk becoming just like Marcano. It is the ultimate choice between redemption and power. The player has to decide Lincoln's fate, determining the legacy he leaves behind. In the Sign of the Times DLC, Lincoln visits Sammy's burnt-out bar to find closure, but instead finds a cult performing a ritual. He saves a woman named Anna, who is deeply traumatized. This kicks off a creepy horror investigation into a cult called the Ensanglante. It is a total shift in tone, moving from mob warfare to psychological thriller. Lincoln has to protect Anna while unraveling a dark conspiracy involving human sacrifice. Lincoln investigates the cult's ritual sites, finding disturbing symbols and evidence of brainwashing. It is giving major True Detective vibes. He realizes this cult preys on the vulnerable, using drugs and manipulation. The investigation leads him to dark corners of New Bordeaux that he didn't even know existed. It is spooky and unsettling, showing that the city has evils that go way beyond organized crime. The trail leads to an old opera house where the cult is operating. Lincoln infiltrates the building, which is filled with hallucinating cultists. The atmosphere is thick with dread. He fights his way through, dealing with enemies who are completely out of their minds. It is a desperate rescue mission to stop a ritual before it is too late. The stakes feel incredibly personal as Lincoln tries to save Anna from her past. Lincoln confronts Bonnie, the cult leader, in a final showdown. She is completely unhinged, rambling about purification and the blessed. The fight is intense, fueled by hallucinogens and fire. Taking her down ends the cult's immediate threat, but the damage is done. It is a tragic conclusion that highlights how trauma can be exploited by monsters. Lincoln survives, but he is left with more scars than before. Despite Lincoln's efforts, Anna takes her own life, unable to cope with the trauma. It is a devastating blow. They hold a small funeral for her at Sammy's place. It is a somber reminder that you cannot save everyone, no matter how hard you try. This moment serves as a painful closure for the DLC, reinforcing the theme that New Bordeaux is a city that consumes the innocent. The Stones Unturned DLC begins with Donovan asking for Lincoln's help. It turns out Donovan has a personal vendetta against a guy named Connor Aldridge, a traitor from their Vietnam days. This storyline is pure buddy cop energy, with banter and explosions. It dives into Donovan's past and gives us more context on why he is so intense. They team up to hunt down Aldridge, who has resurfaced in New Bordeaux. They track Aldridge to a secret CIA listening post. The place is heavily guarded, and they have to fight their way in. It turns out Aldridge is after a lost nuclear warhead. The stakes jump from local mob war to potential global catastrophe instantly. It is high-octane action as they uncover the plot. Donovan is in his element, and seeing him and Lincoln work together is honestly the highlight of the DLC. The chase leads to a remote island where Aldridge's mercenaries are dug in. Lincoln uses a sniper rifle to clear the way, showcasing his marksman skills. The environment is tropical and hostile, a callback to their time in the jungle. They are fighting against a clock, knowing that if Aldridge gets off the island with the nuke, it is game over. It is tense, tactical, and incredibly satisfying gameplay. The final confrontation with Aldridge happens as he tries to load the nuke onto a submarine. It is a cinematic showdown with massive explosions. Lincoln and Donovan manage to stop him and secure the warhead. Killing Aldridge gives Donovan the closure he needed. They share a moment of victory, having stopped a literal nuclear threat. It is a wild escalation from street crime, but it fits their special forces background perfectly. In the Faster Baby DLC, Lincoln teams up with Roxy Laveau to take down a corrupt sheriff named Slim Beaumont. Slim is terrorizing civil rights activists in Sinclair Parish. This storyline focuses on high-speed driving and sticking it to the man. Roxy is a great character, full of fire and determination. Together, they turn the quiet parish into a war zone, using muscle cars as their weapons of choice. They hole up in a farmhouse while the police close in. It is a classic standoff scenario. They have to defend their position against waves of corrupt deputies. The action is frantic and desperate. It bonds Lincoln and Roxy as partners in crime fighting. They are fighting for a cause, protecting the evidence that will bring Slim down. It is righteous fury against institutional racism. The climax involves a massive car chase through the town, causing absolute destruction. They are smashing through billboards and roadblocks, leaving chaos in their wake. It is chaotic fun, capturing the spirit of classic car chase movies. The goal is to get the witness testimony to the FBI while keeping Slim's goons off their tail. It is fast, furious, and incredibly satisfying to watch the corrupt cops crash and burn. Lincoln finally catches Slim Beaumont. He doesn't kill him immediately. Instead, he leaves him for the feds, but not before roughing him up. It is a different kind of justice. Slim is arrested, stripped of his power, and humiliated. It is a win for the civil rights movement in the area. Lincoln drives off into the sunset with Roxy, having cleaned up another corner of the world, one high-speed chase at a time. The video wraps up with the documentary framing again. We see an older Donovan testifying before a Senate committee. He drops a bombshell, revealing conspiracies about JFK and implicating the senators themselves. He pulls a gun and kills a senator on camera, proving he has absolutely zero chill. It is a shocking mic drop ending that recontextualizes the entire story. Donovan walks out like a boss, leaving the audience shook